Smile 2, which was written and directed by Parker Finn. The film follows international pop star Sky Riley, who has recently returned to the spotlight following issues with drugs and alcohol, which culminated into a terrible accident that nearly ruined her career. As Sky prepares for her New World Tour, she happens to witness a horrific death, which leads her to start having horrifying hallucinations and unexplainable experiences. Overwhelmed by the many trappings of fame and the escalating terrors, Sky is forced to confront her dark past in an attempt to regain control of her life before it spirals out of control. Smile 2 is a horror sequel that pretty much picks up immediately where that first movie ended. There's this wonderful, incredible, but very twisted opening scene where it seamlessly transitions that first film to the second film. But unlike most sequels, Smile 2 dramatically improves upon the original. I think from an overall concept perspective, the first movie was fairly interesting and original and just an all-around fun horror movie that kind of made a big splash at the time. But Smile 2 has just so many different layers that are added by having the protagonist be this global pop star, and it really just takes the movie to the next level. There's the layer of being ultra famous, which I think has often proven to be disastrous for overall mental health and really plays well into our story here. Then there's the demands of being a global pop sensation. And she has almost no time to focus on herself, no time to focus on her own needs, which even further damages her overall well-being. And probably most impactful is the layer of recovery from addiction while being under the spotlight. There are just so many people that are counting on her to be clean, which of course adds an immense layer of pressure that she already feels to be clean. And then on top of that, you also have, unfortunately, people who are probably preying on her downfall, hoping that she uses and hoping that she kind of fades into nothingness. What that does to a person's psyche, as well as what that does to other people's perception of her and how it affects their trust in her, really gives the viewer so much to think about, which is kind of rare in a horror movie. I just thought that all of that really kind of added so much to the film that it took it from this fun, solid horror flick to an all-around good movie. Naomi Scott, who plays Sky Riley, also deserves much of the credit for the quality of this film. She did an incredible job as a pop star. She really just embodied that role so well that you really think that she actually is a pop star in real life. So much so that I actually looked up after the fact if she was a musician, and I wasn't surprised to find out that she was. She's also been in the music and acting industry for a very long time since she got her start as a Disney kid. So I'm sure she used a lot of her own personal experience in the role when it comes to the feeling of getting pulled in 100 different directions and just the overwhelming weight of all the commitments that you're faced with being in that industry. The jump scares in this movie are also very well done. I think in a lot of horror movies these days, there are either too many jump scares where you're kind of always on guard, or there are too many false jump scares where the whole thing kind of loses its effectiveness. This movie really finds that sweet spot for maximum scare. I was terrified pretty much the entire movie, and then on top of that, there were multiple screams, like very loud, audible screams in my theater. So that's somewhat of a testament to the quality of the jump scares in this movie. I will say this one is far more gory than the original. And I'm not someone who's personally into gore for gore's sake. So I just didn't really care for how far they turned the needle up in that regard. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of gore horror fans who are going to absolutely love that aspect of it. Overall, I really enjoyed Smile 2 and thought it was an excellent scary movie, especially during the Halloween season. I also think it was an incredible theater experience, so I highly, highly recommend you go out and see it while it's still in theaters. So go watch Smile 2. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, add a comment letting me know what movie you think I should review next, and subscribe to my channel. I'm working to put out a movie review each week, so subscribe to stay tuned. Thanks, y'all.